This is Justin.
And this is Haley, and you're listening to The Price of Avocado Toast.
We're a married millennial couple wanting to normalize conversations about money. We want to hear about your highs and your lows,
The do's and the don'ts on your path towards financial freedom. Hi, Toasties. Welcome to Price of Avocado Toast.
Whether you're a first-time listener or you've been following us from the start of this thing, we're so glad to have this conversation with you today.
It's November. It was literally just March of 2020.
Yeah. It feels like the last few months seriously have flown by. Maybe that's because we have a newborn, but it's remarkable how fast time is going.
She's not a newborn anymore.
She's not a newborn anymore. She's almost 5 months old.
Yeah, I don't even know. It just happened, and now we're here, and I feel like COVID just started.
I remember sending an Instagram when you were in the triage room at the hospital, like, hey, everyone, we're doing good, but, like, baby's coming today, so send Haley some good vibes.
Yeah, thanks for the vibes, guys.
Yeah, and here we are five months later in November. So what's going on in your November world?
My November world? Well, really exciting news is I hit 20 clients, which was my goal for this year. Like, that was my big goal that I wasn't totally sure if that would happen. So I have 20 financial coaching clients going into November, and I literally couldn't be happier.
That's amazing. I like to think like that's 20 people who are getting maybe more confident with their budget, more confident with their investing or their saving or whatever plans they have for their money. Like, that's just so rad that many people are going to feel better about their financial situation moving forward.
Yeah. I'm really happy.
Yeah.
So that I'm busy with financial coaching. You just finished football, so I'm super happy about that. I love that you love football, but I also love when football's over.
Yeah, the listeners can probably tell that my voice has been pretty beat up the last few weeks because we usually record on the weekends after I've been screaming across the field all Friday night. And we had the rivalry game last night, and they had like a drum line, and this drum line was constantly playing. And I'm like,
it was nonstop.
This is JV football. Why are we, why is all of this happening for JV? Save it for varsity. And so I'm trying to yell across the field to get a hold of my players, and my voice is now worn out. So sorry, listeners, if this sounds annoying, but just handle it for like another week while my vocal cords heal.
You sound way more alive than you did when you had COVID, and then you had a cold right after that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, good. I guess that's a little bit better then. The listeners are probably like, will we ever hear what normal Justin sounds like again?
Someone did ask me. They're like, is he sick again?
Oh, somebody cares about me. That's awesome.
Yeah, they do.
That makes me feel great.
Toasties are legit.
Yeah,
all right,
they
so
are.
what are we talking about today, and how did this episode idea come about? Because this was your idea.
Yeah, so I kind of just wanted to talk about how our November budget meeting went earlier this morning, because I saw some really close ties or connections to the most recent episode from Friends on Fire. We've had Mike and Maggie on the podcast. We've joined them on their podcast, and I was listening to their most recent episode, which was like 25 ways that you can spend or save smarter during the holidays, right? And be just a little bit more mindful with your money. And I love the episode. It just gave all of these great ideas, and we can link it in the show notes for people who want to go listen, because I thought that they did a tremendous job, and I don't want to recreate their wheel. But I was noticing this morning when we were doing our budget meeting that we are getting into holiday season, and our budget needs to be a little bit more flexible, and our budget needs to be adaptable, and we need to be adaptable within our budget. And so along the same lines of like, how can you save and be frugal during the holidays? I thought it might be good to talk about what are some ways that you might need to be budget conscious during the holidays.
I think this is really important. And it's also really important to know that there will never be one month that looks like another one. And when you're looking at Thanksgiving and traveling and then Christmas and the New Year and all of these things that come up, that's going to happen every single month. Whether it's that or it's going to a Halloween party or it's going out of town to visit family, to go camping in July. We have these things that are happening, and we need to plan accordingly to what you're doing. But it's really relevant when everyone's doing something in November and December. So I figured this would be a good time to talk about this.
Yeah,
people can really relate.
Exactly. We have a super jam-packed holiday season. No matter what holidays you celebrate, they're all almost kind of jam packed in between like November to January, and it's important to be budget mindful during those times. So I've just it crossed over so much during our budget meeting this morning. I was like, this would be a super great episode for us to just chat briefly about because I think it's really important.
Yeah, definitely. So people, when you make your budget, you have the essentials. We have rent or your mortgage, and then your bills like electric, water, internet, cell phones, all of that jazz, insurance and stuff. Those are not going to change. But then we have the things that we need to plan for specific for that month. And this is where we need to be super flexible. You also have variable expenses like food. That's never going to be the same each month. You have gas. You have all of these things that will be changing. And we need to look at the entire month to really reflect that. So let's talk about what we're doing this month and how we made some adjustments. So why don't you talk about next weekend?
Yeah, well, next weekend I'm going to be traveling up to Sonoma County, where we're from, to catch my twin brother's final football game of the season. There's players that are seniors that I've coached since they were freshmen, and I really want to be there for their final game. And since our season's over, I'm going to make the drive after work to go and visit them. So you've got some obvious expenses added in right there from gas on the trip, anything I spend while I'm there. I mean, I'm only going to be doing the night of and maybe an overnight, probably not even an overnight. I might just drive down and like turn right back around. But you've got an added trip down back to where we're from, 3 hours away from here. It's going to be some gas that I've got to be mindful of and add into our budget. But it's something that I want to do, and I'm going to make sure my budget reflects that thing.
And with gas in California at almost $5 a gallon,
Ew.
that quickly adds up. You drive a little hybrid car, and it's not that much to fill it up, but that's an extra $60 on top of our baseline gas budget for the month. So we need to add that in.
Yeah, and we already live relatively far away from a lot of the things that we need to do
so far.
daily, right? Like I have a 30-minute, well, not 30 minutes, I have a 25-minute commute to work, and then I have to go, or I was going the other direction for football. You are the one at home with the Suburban, so when you take the girls to downtown where we live, it's a 20-minute drive in either direction to get to things. And so our gas budget's already pretty up there, and people have said, like, whoa, that's a lot of gas, and we've spent it. And we don't do that much. So, adding anything into that gas budget really begins to take it over. And we've had to kind of pull from some other places and adjust our budget and be flexible during this time.
And when we first started budgeting, when we were following Dave Ramsey, we kept everything to a T. What we did in October, we would replicate in November. And then we were like, wait, this doesn't work because we're not doing the same things that we did in October. So why should this be an identical budget? And we decided, okay, we have this baseline budget of $5,600 a month. But then so many months would be over that. And we would get so frustrated about going over our gas budget or eating out too much or doing these things. And I feel like the actual guideline was not appropriate to what we were doing. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it's really important to be flexible, because if you're constantly going over your food budget, you need to raise your food budget.
Yeah.
Period. Like, move things around, increase the numbers, and stop disappointing yourself month after month.
Yeah, and if you're on some, fixed income where you know the exact dollar you're going to have, all it means is allocating money from other spots.
Yeah.
Making other small sacrifices throughout the month so that you can do those things. And that's important. That's important to be flexible and to be adaptable to those things.
Yeah. Be able to move the funds around. You have the big pot of money. Now you just have to put everything where it needs to go.
Yep.
Okay, so another thing that we're doing this month is we are going. You have a week off because you're a teacher.
Rad.
And I'm taking the week off from coaching, and I'm really excited because I feel like so many business owners, especially when you're self-employed, it is like work 48 hours nonstop, and that's not healthy for anyone, and I need to take a break. Yeah. I love what I'm doing. But everyone needs to take a vacation every so often. And I'm really excited to actually unplug and take a good 5 days off. So we are taking 5 days off together. Well, you have the whole week. And we're going to go visit my dad out of town. He lives about 5 hours away. And then we're going to spend the second half of the week back in Santa Rosa visiting some family for Thanksgiving. So we're going to be kind of all over the map, up and down the coast of California for a week. And again, that is a lot of gas. That's going to be at least like 2.5 tanks of gas in the Suburban. If you
Mm-hmm.
follow us on Instagram, you constantly see me bitching about how much it costs to fill the Suburban up. It's about $125 now.
Yeah.
So ka-ching, ka-ching, gas budget goes up and up and up and up. So we definitely had to implement that as well.
Yeah. And again, like I was saying, raising it this morning when we were going through our budget meeting, it's like, okay, this is something that we're going to do. We know Thanksgiving's coming in the next couple of weeks. We need to plan ahead for this. We did
Yeah.
not want to stick to the budget that we had last month and then drive and say, oh, we're short $125 in our gas budget because we failed to plan accordingly. Like, if you know that it's coming up, just be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Adapt to it and find ways that you can make it work. And gas is such a big thing during the holidays because we're traveling to see people. And actually, it may not even be gas. It may be an airplane ticket, right? It may be, a train or a bus fare, whatever it may be. Be mindful of the ways that you're getting around to visit those that you love during the holidays so that you know how to plan that into your budget.
And if you're unaware, flying right now is cheaper than driving. So if you're trying to drive 8 hours, a flight is going to be cheaper. If you just have like one person. Now, if you have a whole family, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
We can't put all 4 of us on a plane cheaper than it would be to drive somewhere. But if it was just one person, we could easily catch a flight.
Yeah, definitely works.
Very inexpensively. So another thing that we needed to increase was our eating out budget. And we could have just left this and been super, super, super tight because our normal eating out budget,
It's $125.
$125, actually, we didn't increase that. We did leave it at $125.
We did.
We did. And why was that?
Well, that was my reasoning, and it was kind of one of the things I wanted to talk about on the podcast was, I wanted us to hold ourselves accountable to enjoying those meals with family during the holidays and trying to plan accordingly to get to those meals. So often during the holidays, we go out to eat with folks and we really enjoy these experiences. But when you're on a budget or when you're trying to save money or if you're on a fixed income and you just can't really afford to do those things, you've got to enjoy the little moments that you get to be with family. And that may be just over a shared meal. Like, that's community right there.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm really looking forward to this month, especially Thanksgiving being a holiday centered around food, primarily in America. I'm really excited for that. So I'm glad that we stuck our eating out budget to what it was. But I recognize that for some people, they have holiday get-togethers with their family where they all go out and enjoy a meal. My brother and his in-laws do a big family gathering every single year at a nice restaurant. And so they'll have to budget that into their budget of paying for that meal for their family. And that's a common trend for a lot of groups.
I love that. I was thinking more along the lines of like, because we are going on road trips, maybe we need to be like stopping and getting food. But if we're planning accordingly, we can just maybe stop and get food like one time, not 7 times.
Yeah, and I think we can pack snacks
Yeah.
on the road down. When we're down there at your dad's, maybe he's got some things we can take on the road for the girl. I say the girl for Calliope. I was gonna say girls, and then I'm like, well, one of them is just breast milk. So sorry, Kennedy, you don't get any snacks. But
No snacks for her.
yeah, but maybe we can take stuff from his place, or maybe we just get snacks a couple times and don't eat out dinners, so that budget stays low. There's things we can do to be mindful and flexible in it. I keep using this word flexible because I think it's so important. We
It's
lock
so
ourselves
important.
in, like you said, to these budgets that are so restrictive, and we fail at them. And then because we failed at them, we get this shame and this guilt of like, I can't do this, so I might as well just go off the rails, ruin my holiday spending, and start over in 2022. And there's no reason to do that. There's no reason to do that. It's okay to plan accordingly. And if it doesn't work, just let it go. Hey, it is what it is, and I'm going to do better tomorrow.
Tomorrow, next month, you get a fresh start. That's my favorite thing about budgeting.
Yeah.
In like 1 week or 4 weeks, depending on where you are in the month, you get to start fresh with a brand new slate.
Yeah.
So just because you go off the rails in one area doesn't mean the whole thing is trashed. But if you get to a point where you're frustrated and you feel like your budget is trash for the month, because we've all been there, you can start over at the first of the next month. One thing that you said that I thought was really important is, the whole flexibility thing, right? But your budget gives you permission to spend money on whatever you want to spend money on, whatever you value and what you see important. It does not have to be some restrictive thing that is terrible and horrible. That's not fun. And that's why a lot of people are like, ugh, budgeting, this sucks. But it's just a plan. It's a plan for what you're doing. And then you're giving your money a place to go. So then you can feel good when you go out to dinner with your family for Christmas or whatever and you drop $200 because you planned for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like, oh my God, that's so much money. We didn't plan for this. This ruins the whole thing. It does not have to be that way. But if you do fail to plan, then the whole thing will feel like you are failing. And we don't want that to happen. So that's why you do have to look at the whole entire month as a whole.
I think the key word there is just intentionality.
Yeah.
Right? Just being intentional with your money and being intentional with your value system and where you want to spend your money. And that's important year round, obviously, but even more so during the holiday season. So the third thing that I think is super important, and the last thing that I think we should talk about with this travel mindset during the holidays is lodging. We're lucky enough that we'll be able to stay with family, both when we go down to Paso Robles and when we're in Sonoma County, but sometimes you're not that set up, right? You may have to spend on an Airbnb or a hotel, and these can be, I should say, pricey expenses.
Yeah,
Super
especially
pricey.
during the holidays. They jack the prices up, and oftentimes this is more than your transportation costs, like the flight or the gas. The lodging can really, really add up very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. So just be mindful of not only during the holiday season, but maybe throughout the year. Hey, during the holiday season, we always go to this place to visit family, and we always have to get a house while we're there or a hotel while we're there. What if we start a sinking fund that every year is the holiday travel sinking fund? So when the holidays roll around, we're able to just not even stress because we've saved that money throughout the entire year. I really think that that's a good practice for anybody that might need to do some heavy traveling during the holidays.
I want to do an episode on that come the new year because I think it's really important to lay it out for the whole entire year and not just like short-term goals, but looking at the whole thing, the whole picture, the big picture. So stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed because we will be talking about that more in depth in a few weeks here. Oh my God, this is going really fast.
Yeah, I saw a thing the other day that said there's only 9 weeks left in 2021.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's recap what people need to do. The first thing is to just look at your whole entire month. If you don't have a calendar, get one. But look at the whole month. What are you doing? Are you going to be hanging out with friends? Are you going to be out of town? Where are you going to be spending money? That's the most important thing. And then once you have everything written down for all of the things you're going to be doing, then you can plan backwards. Okay, I'm going here. This is what this is going to cost me. You need to take into consideration gas costs or flight costs or Ubers if you are Uber or Lyft or whatever you guys use in whatever state that you're in. I think Uber is pretty nationwide. But if you're going to be going to the airport on an airplane and then you need to get somewhere else, or if you need to rent a car, we need to put all of that into consideration. The second thing is food, and the third thing is lodging.
Yeah, super important. But there's a little bonus at the end of this.
Oh no, what is it?
And that is...
I shouldn't say oh no. Oh yay,
yeah.
What is it?
Well, I think people should also look at the positives of this.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to be spending a week away from our home. Our gas and electric bill might be a little bit lower than what we've seen at times. Or maybe our grocery budget won't be as high because we're going to have a week away from food. And maybe we can get family to pick up some of the meals, right? I know your dad in particular loves cooking for us when we go down there. So those are some other things that people can actually think of. Hey, if I'm spending in this place, maybe I can pull it from the alternative to find that money. I think that's a really great way. Now, you can't really pull gas from anywhere because you're taking your car with you still. But, the lodging and stuff, maybe your water bill's a little lower. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some other fixed expense that for this month isn't quite as fixed and can be a little bit different. I think that is one of the cooler things about the holiday season.
Can I go on a tangent here for a second?
Always. It's your podcast.
Well, okay. Everyone knows I hate PG&E. Like, insert flip off emoji. I hate them.
Yeah.
But we just, like, totally sliced our bill.
Yes, we
Sliced
did.
it. It went from, like, 300s to, like, 126. And I couldn't be more happy about that.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh, what's it going to go down to when we're gone for a whole week?
It's going to be a beautiful thing.
It's going to be a beautiful thing until the heater starts automatically going on. So I got to fix the thermostat to not go on.
Yes, but I do want to give a shout out to Ohm Connect, who made us be a little bit more mindful of our energy consumption
100%.
and, gave us the smart thermostat and challenges us with the Ohm hours to, unplug devices and unplug big appliances. I mean, we've unplugged the fridge in the garage. We've unplugged the wine cooler in the garage. We've unplugged everything in the living room. We went around the house one time for like 5 minutes before the Ohm hour hit and unplugged literally everything we could.
The TV.
Yeah, like it was
The
almost
air
like a
fryer.
fun game. Yeah. I mean, I guess the air fryer wasn't plugged in all the time. We usually just take that out when we need to use it. But I mean, yeah, that's, like they really made us more mindful of that. And that's why our bill was so much lower. So shout out to them for helping with that.
Yeah. And if you happen to live in California, I have a link in the bio on Instagram, which I'll actually put this in the show notes. But Ohm Connect is like totally free. And this is not like sponsored content. I'm just so stoked on it. I can't not talk about it. But they give you a free thermostat when you sign up. And they are like a third party that kind of, I don't know. Are they contracted with your electric bill? I don't know. They work with the electric companies. But you don't pay them anything. And they send you a free thermostat. And then you get to save money on your bill. It's very cool. I kind of thought like, this sounds kind of sketchy. What's the catch? There is no catch.
No, their mission is to get Californians to lower their energy consumption so that we don't need to worry so much about the planned safety power shutoffs and so that we don't have to worry about getting services disconnected during times of need.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a great mission. Very cool mission.
And it's working.
It's working. Absolutely.
So cheers to that $126 PG&E bill.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, on the exit out of the episode here, I do want to give a shout out to our fantastic producer, Garrett. He's at Bearcat Shark on Instagram. He's just a tremendous musician, tremendous audio engineer, and our episode last week with Kate and Alex sounded so good because we actually had a professional putting together the audio quality. So worth the rate, and I'm stoked to have him on the team.
Yeah, me too. It feels really cool
Yeah.
to have someone that I know that cares about our podcast, editing our podcast, but it just feels really cool to outsource something. I feel like we've taken it to another level.
Yeah, absolutely. And Garrett is such a humble dude.
Yeah.
He's
the
such
best.
a humble dude.
He may even edit this out.
That's what I was going to say. Garrett, if you edit this out, we will fire you because we love you so much, dude, and you deserve all the credit because you're just a tremendous human being before even just being an incredible audio engineer. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if anyone has a podcast, hit up Garrett.
Yeah.
He's legit.
Yeah.
Bearcat Shark is a Bearcat Shark.
Yes. I don't know if that's a real thing, but
We went to Sonoma State where seawolves were the...
you're right. We shouldn't
mascot?
challenge a Bearcat Shark.
I mean, a Bearcat Shark sounds very legit.
It could be out there for sure. That's going to do it for this episode of Price of Avocado Toast. As always, we are so thankful to have had this conversation with you, and we're so thankful to be part of this community alongside you. Happy budgeting.
You've got this, Toasties.
Thanks for listening to the Price of Avocado Toast. If you vibed with this episode, share it with a friend that you're comfortable having money talks with. And if you don't mind, we'd love if you could rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
If you're in need of my support as a financial coach, message me on Instagram. I'd love to help in any way that I can. Until next time.